This video was made possible by my diamond level patron Thomas Hibbert. You can commission your very own reviews right now over at my Patreon page. When it comes to the long history of animated movies, the works of Pixar stand out as some of the best. Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Up. If there's one way to describe the first 15 years of Pixar, it's banger after banger after banger. Now that they're trapped in the Disney churn of constant mediocre rushed movies and sequels, the luster of Pixar has worn off a bit, since it's more like bantha poodoo after bantha poodoo after bantha poodoo. However, back in the early days of Disney Pixar, one movie stands out as possibly the best animated movie of all time for its epic scale, creative character dynamics, and incredible thematic storytelling. I am, of course, talking about the 2008 mega hit WALL-E. This movie is a seemingly straightforward tale of a lonely waste collection robot, but it's filled to the brim with so much amazing depth and creativity that I feel like it's perfect to analyse in the way that I do so very well. So grab your closest boot plant and sit back in your futuristic mobility scooter, because this is a deep dive into WALL-E. The movie, I mean, not the robot. Although we don't actually know what he and Eve get up to behind closed doors. So, given how the movie is called WALL-E, let's start with the titular character, who is this adorably sweet and innocent little robot. Production designer Ralph Eggleston intentionally bleached out the whites on Earth to make WALL-E seem more vulnerable, so you immediately become attached to him in this lonely world. Along with this, writer Andrew Stanton purposefully made WALL-E have a menial job to further this feeling of sympathy. At the start of the movie, the robot is completely alone as he goes about his business cleaning up garbage and collecting little trinkets he finds. It's not much, but it's honest work, and he's determined to do it right long after all his fellow waste collection robots have broken down. But despite all this enthusiasm and curiosity, there is a profound sense of loneliness present within WALL-E because he has managed to develop a personality and sentience. It makes him more than just a robot, a testament to the creative strength of Pixar that they can make you so attached to what is essentially just a Roomba. From the very beginning, the production team wanted WALL-E to fall in love as the logical progression away from his loneliness. So they created the character of Eve, the sleek and egg-shaped robot sent to scan the wasteland for signs of sustainable life. I really like how much of a contrast there is between these two, showing their completely different backgrounds and purposes. They're from entirely different worlds, but they're able to form this connection, and it's a strong message of love against the odds. One of the most striking and sweet elements of this relationship is their non-verbal communication. They can't speak full sentences together, but they're still able to convey their feelings and emotions through actions and expressions. It shows how language itself isn't always a barrier for love, and non-verbal communication can help two individuals connect, even despite their differences. You can see right from the beginning that WALL-E is smitten with this otherworldly robot who is unlike anything he's ever known or seen before. It's a one-sided infatuation, but it perfectly plays off his natural curiosity. So it makes a lot of sense that he follows her even after she returns to the Axiom. Right from the beginning, he has this unwavering devotion towards her, despite her cold focus on her programming and mission, and over the course of the story, she begins to open up and warm to him. So they go on this really sweet journey together. Of course, they have plenty of miscommunications and issues along the way, like Eve thinking WALL-E is to blame for the plant disappearing. But they consistently prove that they would do anything for each other, even if it risks their own lives during the process. With each other's help, Eve and WALL-E grow and learn, embracing their sense of self and thinking for themselves. Through their interactions with each other, they are able to break free from the constraints of their programming. Thanks to Eve, WALL-E begins to see the world in a different way and take action for himself, rather than just being trapped in this mundane and unimaginative life. His naivety only fuels this devotion, like when he thinks Eve is being tortured, so he tries to help her even if it does get them designated as rogues. But it goes to show just how important they are to each other, something that's paid off wonderfully at the end as Eve desperately tries to bring WALL-E back to life, only to find his memory and personality have been erased. It's a really tragic ending for him after all his growth, but his constant unwavering support of her throughout is what ultimately gives her the commitment to never give up on him. Honestly, there's just such a pure simplicity about the relationship between WALL-E and Eve that shows not every romantic story needs to be overly complex with loads of moving parts. Instead, theirs is a truly heartwarming and inspiring tale of love and understanding, a testament to the power of connection even without words. However, in terms of the wider narrative, Eve does help to introduce the idea of the human race being reliant on technology, which is a big part of both the story and the downfall of planet Earth. Throughout the film, it becomes clear that the humans have become completely dependent on technology doing everything for them. When we arrive on the Axiom, which is the ship the humans fled upon, we see that the population has become horrifically obese, losing the ability to walk because they're just floating around in these chairs, pumping them full of unhealthy food and keeping them distracted with constant media. Writer Andrew Stanton wanted to emphasise how an increased reliance on technology takes away our need to put effort into relationships. This isn't because of some kind of boomer phobia of technology. It's just a warning about becoming too reliant on it. Some people believe that laziness is a paradise of sorts, but WALL-E makes sure to drive home how wrong this belief is, because said laziness stunts our growth and innovation. At their cores, both the wasteland of Earth and the sleek advanced spaceship are essentially the same thing. They're deeply lonely and impersonal places. It's only when you combine humanity and technology that you're able to reach that utopian vision we see in the credits. It's always important to retain a balance between both, and this movie reminds us of that. Technology is a hugely valuable and convenient tool, but it has to be used in moderation, because allowing it to consume our lives is dangerous. It runs the risk of making humanity itself redundant. Indeed, the main villain of the movie is Auto, the autopilot system of the Axiom spaceship. Throughout the movie, Auto is shown to be very manipulative and formidable, able to bend any other robot to its will as it attempts to maintain the status quo of the ship. Auto only has one aim, and that is to maintain Directive A113, a secret no-return directive issued by the by and large CEO. Even when Captain McCrae countermands this directive, Auto tries to stop him and the sympathetic robots because it's so hellbent on protecting this misguided directive. It serves as a commentary on leaving advanced technology unchecked. Auto is cold and calculating, ruthlessly maintaining order rather than actually looking after the well-being of the humans. Sure, it seems like a benevolent presence by providing them with all these luxuries, but it simply strives for control over them, keeping them isolated away from each other and Earth itself. If the by and large corporation is a false god for its implementation of brand loyalty, then Auto is a dictator determined to maintain its strength and power. Even though WALL-E can influence all the other robots, Auto never wavers from its directive and refuses to give up this control. If WALL-E was able to develop such a detailed personality, then it makes you wonder just how much of a twisted and controlling personality Auto managed to develop in the same period. Especially since it's already an AI. Whilst the directive is hardwired into Auto's programming, I do feel like it grew to actively enjoy its status, and that's why it's so determined to stop WALL-E and Eve. Because if they succeed and the humans return to Earth, they'll no longer have any need for Auto, learning to be self-sustaining rather than relying on Auto for everything. The human reliance on technology is what opens them up to being controlled and manipulated by Auto, once again showing how dangerous it is to rely entirely on technology because we grow complacent and unquestioning. And yes, indeed, Captain McCrae is able to defeat Auto by thinking for himself and finally deactivating the villain, which allows the humans to return home and thrive once again, free of the complacency that stunted our growth and potential. In addition to its dystopian future warning of the dangers of relying too much on technology, WALL-E heavily touches upon the theme of environmentalism and the devastating consequences of our disregard for planet Earth. The once beautiful planet has become a garbage-filled wasteland devoid of life, and it's really striking to see this window into a very realistic future for our home. The visuals of this derelict Earth were directly inspired by places like Chernobyl and the Bulgarian capital Sofia, so it's genuinely realistic and identifiable as our own planet, helping to drive that point home. It's no secret that our current way of life is unsustainable. Our constant reliance on finite resources is wearing down the world we live in because landfills are overflowing and waste is polluting the oceans. Call me an eco-warrior, but these are very important issues and WALL-E sets out to show that, presenting the devastating consequences of our lifestyle and how we'd rather just abandon Earth and leave it to rot instead of, actually addressing and fixing the problems. The only remaining humans are fat and lazy, living in this spaceship catering for their every need, further showing the distinct lack of care and ambition present within the human race. One of the movie's central messages is how unsustainable and destructive our consumption-driven society is, how our reliance on technology and consumerism has isolated the human race from the natural world which blessed us with life. It's all well and good to show us the dangers of technology on us, but it's also important to show the effects it has on the planet itself, and that's what makes WALL-E's setting so effective. However, the movie does offer hope for a better, more utopian future. Eve represents this new possibility for humanity, a second chance to do better and repair the mistakes of the past. She's this sleek and advanced robot who inspires WALL-E to leave the comfort of his own world. Like the humans, he's complacent in his isolated existence, but Eve inspires him to go on this journey of discovery and self-growth. It's thanks to Eve that WALL-E begins to strive for more and leave his comfort zone, which symbolises how it's not too late for us to change our ways and repair all the damage we've done, like we see at the ending as the humans finally return to Earth and find themselves blessed with a second chance. We get to see all of this in the credits, which shows the extensive rejuvenation of our beautiful planet. The humans and robots work together to rebuild all the structures and restore the farmland, rather than the humans relying on technology to do everything for them. Even earlier in the movie, it was WALL-E and Eve working together with the humans to overpower Otto and return home, further proving the importance of balance and cooperation, rather than reliance. After going through everything they have been through, the human characters learn to appreciate everything. So these credits serve as a beautiful epilogue for the story, proving that everyone has learned how to coexist with nature and respect it. By the end of the credits, life has returned to Earth and is blossoming, proving that it's truly never too late to fix this desolation, especially after how far gone it was at the beginning of the movie. Lastly, I just want to commend WALL-E for how well animated it is and how gorgeous it looks. I genuinely think it's one of the most visually interesting Pixar movies to date, with these meticulously designed backgrounds creating a captivating world, along with a whopping 125,000 storyboards, in contrast to the average of 75,000 at the time. This means the animation is absolutely gorgeous and brings the characters to life in a really detailed and expressive way. This allows you to get personally invested in WALL-E and Eve's relationship on an emotional level. Stanton wanted the audience to project themselves onto these characters, which works exceptionally, particularly because of WALL-E's simplistic design. They don't make him too human, but they also don't make him too robotic. They make him very childlike and sweet with his movements and anatomy, with the zoom lens proving a masterful stroke when it comes to giving him outward emotion. Along with this, the lighting of the movie adds so much to the narrative, since the production team made a conscious decision to create a 3-act structure within the lighting itself. The first act sees the dull yet warm colours of Earth subtly transforming to soft pinks and blues upon Eve's arrival, giving it a romantic feeling, before the second act focuses on the Axiom's cold and sterile lighting. Then in the third and final act, that romantic lighting makes its way onto the Axiom too, which really gives the movie a sense of progression and growth. It's a technical marvel of a film with so much care and love poured into it. Rather than stuffing it full of dialogue, the team focused on the world and the general atmosphere of the film, full of all these detailed settings and objects. Every decision was carefully made and the film excels as a result, reaping the rewards of such a rich imagination and passion for the animation craft. Everything about it feels real, both visually and thematically, which so many other films have failed trying to achieve. So it really deserves its reputation as one of the greatest animated movies ever made. On its surface, WALL-E is a light-hearted sci-fi comedy about a lonely robot finding a new purpose in a dead world abandoned by humanity. However, when you look deeper, there's so much more to it. It has so much charm and character, but its real value is all the themes and the important social commentary. It's a scathing criticism of corporate greed and environmental neglect, how we're poisoning our own planet with our consumerist society and then just ignoring it and hoping someone else will fix it. But the themes are packaged into this really delightful and smooth journey, so it balances everything perfectly, delivering its important message without feeling like a lecture, although given the way things have gone in the following 14 or so years, it probably was a bit too subtle after all. WALL-E is a delightful watch for people of any age, with a heartwarming story, incredible animation, and of course the themes I've rattled on about for way too long by this point. It says so much despite the movie's minimal dialogue. Instead of having the characters explaining everything to you, it allows you as the viewer to focus on the actions and emotions, along with giving you the chance to take from it whatever you choose. To some, it's a complex warning about the issues with the way we treat our planet, and to others, it's just a simple love story about two sweet robots. But the one thing we can all agree on is that it's one of the greatest animated movies of all time, deserving of its acclaim. And even after all these years, it still stands tall as it deserves to. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. And an extra special thank you to my Asbantium level patron Fallon Cortez, my Platinum level patrons Maximilian Foreman and Nyx Games, and all of my Gold level patrons Boots, Calvin, Daniel Shillerto, Francois AK Line Vortex, Herna Furzog, and Luke_SY. Thank you so much for your support.